welcome back once again, David. How are you?
Yeah, how are you, Raphael? Is the connection good? Can you hear me very well, or
Yes,
is there any
I
problems?
think the connection is good. Audio
Okay,
quality is clear enough. We hear you well.
yes. Okay, now the thing is, many people have noticed that David, talks about history and the lies about history, and Professor Anatoly Fomenko is a mathematician. David won't mention many of the names. Why not? Because many of these people, they come and go. You will see there's many people who are making videos on YouTube, yeah, and things like this about history or truthers. Many of them Patreon, PayPal, making regular videos about anything, just coming and going. Many people care about viewers and things like this. Yes. So
Indeed.
this is what's going on, and the thing is, I've tried to stay away from these things. It's because people really want to know, why are we alive? What the hell are we doing here? What the hell is going on? And everybody knows there's something strange going on when they see television news, many lies, false flags, inside jobs. Everybody knows there's something wrong. So now the thing is, um, what I did was I wrote several books to show things like what's going on in the world today. Like, for example, like to show what's going on today. These are very important. I know I keep repeating this, but the thing is to show that there's something wrong mathematically in the way that we're told what happened. I wrote the Alpha and the Omega codes. This is one. Another thing, for example, I wrote about Nazi Germany and Hitler. I wrote a book. It's got different titles depending which side of the world, which shows that mathematically there's something wrong with what they're telling us about World War One and World War Two. Like, for example, I asked many people this for a long time. Yes, and don't give me an updated story. Tell me, an honest answer, how you would feel, how you've felt for a long time. Name one battle in the 20-year or 19-year war of Iraq. It lasted for 19 years. The media is there. The historians are there today. We are in Europe and we're in America. And the people who are listening, I just want you to think of one battle that happened in this 19 years war where they say hundreds of thousands of people died. Name one battle in this war of Iraq that involved the Americans, ISIS, and the Shiites and Sunnis and Muslims and other people. Can you name one battle?
Well, not battle. The only thing I can think of is the siege of Baghdad, but I don't know how much of a battle that was, more of a shelling.
Okay, so 19-year war, you can't name a battle. I've asked many soldiers who went to the Middle East. They can't name a battle too. I asked many people in England, name one battle, and in America and online. I said, name one battle. They couldn't. Okay, now the Afghan war lasted for 19 years once again. Yeah, can you name one battle in this 19-year war?
I don't think so.
Yes, and we're watching the newspapers, media, everyone's talking about it. It was a big thing in the last 20 years, and we can't name one battle. So now, there's I remember around 20 years ago, I asked many people who served in World War II in England, many people who served there, yes, and people who are connected to people who served in World War One and who served there. And I said to them, name one battle that you can think of in World War II or World War One. Almost most of them could not even name a single battle. I thought, what? What the hell is going on here? Yes. So that's why when we go to school 100 years later, they're telling us there is the Battle of the Bulge, the Battle of the Somme, these things, they're naming these things. It's because it's because this history was written after. So now the thing is, the people who are going to go to school in 50 years' time, they're going to be told many stories of the battles in the war of Iraq and the war of Afghanistan, and they're going to be given data, this happened, that happened, everything. So a similar thing we can say a similar thing right now. Yes, and judge. Yes, a similar thing that if we found people 100 years ago and said, name one battle during the time of Napoleon Bonaparte, because when we go to places in France, in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Hungary, Poland, Russia, Denmark, England, the average person seems to have no clue or no memory in their family history from the ancestry that any of these Napoleonic wars ever took place or any of these battles. The people can't name anything. All they can remember is, hey, somewhere in our family, just 150 to 200 years ago, we were orphans. That's what people could name. They couldn't find this so-called history of Napoleon Bonaparte. That's why I wrote the book Napoleon Did Not Exist. Yes, to show data that the battles in the history is just a forgery and a lie. Yes, and then I wrote the book Orphan Trains to show what was actually going on with the mafia. And the mafia are, I'm talking about military mafia. Like now in Russia, they're saying in Ukraine, they're saying, hey, there's these companies that are involved in the war, like Wagner. Some people will call them businesses or mafia. There's a lot of money to be made. So I wrote Orphan Trains to show a lot of things that were going on of wide scale kidnapping of children for 100 years. Another thing many people don't know what happened. Yes, I sent you the information the other day, is that what do you call it? Yes, they were playing around with skin color. Like, for example, if there was a family in Germany, one child with curly hair, one child who's short in height, one child who is tall, or another who is small, they were playing with the demographics that if Germany's and France have just had a war, 1870s, 1880s, 1890s. So they'll walk into the family and they will separate the children. And even if they're brothers and sisters, let's say the family was like five or six children, and then they will just separate them and say, hey, he's got curly hair, send him to Italy. He's got dark skin, even if he's the brother, send him to Spain. He's got blonde hair, send him to Denmark. He's got like light brown hair, send him to England. Yes, so this was called demographic engineering, and this was something that was going on a wide scale for 100 years. And they say that it was estimated that it was happening, this demographic engineering, from 1850 to 1950. Many researchers have written about this, the forced population movements, and they define it as genocide, as murder. They were killing the adults, sending the children here and there. This project failed, that by the time it was the 1980s, they found that the third generation, let's say there's a German family, and the grandparents both had blonde hair, but then their children have got dark hair, curly hair, short and tall. And they thought, damn, we failed our project. That in England, they would find somebody, they sent the people with green eyes or the blue eyes, let's say to Canada or to England, Australia, and then their child had, brown eyes or black eyes. And then they thought, hey, this project's failed. Yes, then they thought, we'll do the other thing, open up for immigration and other things. Yes, so this demographic engineering, I'm not making it up. In case somebody thinks, hey, no, Germany has been tall, blonde, blue eyes. Italy has been short, brown and black eyes or something. It's just a forgery. And Russia has been black eyes, brown eyes, but like orangish more skin and more white skin got sent to the French side and to Holland and to North America. No, this is just a lie. Because they were doing the same thing. They were going to in Turkey. The Italian army was there separating children, and they sent them to Athens and then shipped them to Latin America, North America. It was like a business, and they tried to rearrange the world. It failed. Yes. So now the thing is, these people, everybody calls them the Kabbalah. Now this is what they're going to tell us. This is what they're going to tell us, and we cannot find this history. So that when people look up the Kabbalah, they're going to think, yes, this is what people are going to think. They're going to think the Kabbalah is some type of Jewish mysticism, and this is why many people seem to assume the Illuminati, yes, on all this, are following the Kabbalah, and it's something to do with Jews, or something to do with Israel and the modern Jewish people. Now, the modern Jewish people, many of them were not even called Jews officially. Yes, 100 years ago. Now, this is why it's like somebody has turned around and said, "Hey, David is trying to deny the rights of what do you call it, Arabs or Palestinians in the Middle East," but when he talks about Israel or something. But let me just show people something. Yes, what many people don't know. Yes, is like, let's talk about the Jews of Baghdad, for instance, before World War II. Yes, many people don't know these people. Yes, and to give them the title, the Jews of Baghdad, is not exactly correct. Yes, today they live in Israel. They no longer live in Baghdad. Yes, but the thing is, what happened is around in the 20th century, many people started to separate people based on religion, let's say in Baghdad. Yes, now the thing is, if anybody has a look at the history of these people in Baghdad, what they will find is, for example, let me just show something here. Like here is a picture. Um, wait, let me just go to this specifically. Yes, the thing is, many people will say that we know who the people were who were Jewish, let's say in Baghdad, in what do you call it, 100 years ago. Now the thing is, many of these people are still alive in Israel. So while these Baghdad Jews are alive in Israel today, people should note down this history and ask the old people more questions while they're still alive. Now, this is what we will find. 18 A Jewish girls' school was established, for example, in 1893. Yes, in Baghdad, called the Lauri Kaduri School for girls. It was opened by the French, called Alliance Israélite Universelle. Yes, it's opened by the French, not opened by the local people. They opened many of the schools and institutions and other small gatherings, yes, in the entire region. Yes, and now many of these Jewish people, what people will call Jews, yes, from Baghdad, yes, they have a right to the Middle East. They're actually Iraqis. Yeah, and the thing is, they were known as Arabs. They didn't even call themselves Jews. They spoke Arabic, the local dialect of Iraq. But today, their grandchildren speak Hebrew. Yes, and if anybody checks this the history out, what they will find is something strange. Yes, because I want you to imagine the British and the French and the Vatican are now going to Iraq to overtake this place. Now, what are you going to find in Iraq? The desert conditions. Now, what you will notice is this. What you call it, prior to 1948, 800,000 Jews were living in Arabic countries. Yes? And they say maybe 6% or even 20% of Jewish people. But anyway, a major important thing is the Jews in Iraq were mostly city residents, while the Muslims were living outside in the deserts, nomads traveling around as if they've just arrived. Hey? As if they've just arrived. Yes. Now, many Arab people will dispute this with me, but the thing is, for example, many of the Arabic people, we can clearly see they came from the Balkans and Europe. But the thing is, if these people were already in the cities, now the thing is, many people should examine who these Jewish people were, because many people don't examine these things. Yes, and the thing is, nobody's sure what the exact figures are, but let's go through some estimates. Yes, and some of these estimates we can go through these estimates, and that we will find what do you call it? Today they live in Israel, but the Baghdad Jews, yes, the thing is, were one of the two largest communities, and at that time Baghdad was a small city, and they estimated that maybe the Jews were up to half the population, or even more. But as we go further back in history, because the history of Baghdad has been falsified, yes, because the history has been falsified, we cannot figure out what is the exact history. Yes, and the thing is, if we looked at photograph of Baghdad, yeah, many people would define it as what Donald Trump would say is like a garbage hole or a toilet hole. Yes, 100 years ago. It's almost like because the people had just arrived, several centuries ago. And this is actually from the Jewish Virtual Library. Yes, the thing is, during the British administration after World War II, the number of so-called Jewish institutions, especially the secondary ones, increased. In other words, they opened under the British administration. Yes, what we mean by a Jewish school. Yes, where people are going there, where they're going to suddenly learn the Talmud and all these other books and the so-called official Torah and many other things. And what do you call it? Yes, or otherwise before this, yes, the people were speaking the local dialect. These schools didn't exist before then. Yes. So now if these schools didn't exist before then, who were these people? Now everybody knows, for example, if they look at Jews of Baghdad and they do a blood test, those who've not intermarried with anybody else, that if you do a blood test and if you were in Baghdad 100 years ago, you would not know the difference between, yes, a Jew or a Sunni or a Muslim. Yes, or a Shia, I mean. Yes, Sunni or Shia Muslim. That the thing is, you will not even know the difference. That the rabbis just look like Muslim priests. And the thing is, they used to intermarry. You do a blood test and it will be 100% the same. 100% the same. And the thing is, what do you call it? Yes, and you will see them and you will think, hey, they just look like these so-called Arabs or Palestinians. They're even wearing what we would define today as, just look at this man on his head, the scarf. Somebody would turn around and say, hey, this is an Arab scarf that the Palestinians wear. No, this is how the Jews dressed there. Yes, and then the thing is, what happened? The European colonialists wanted to reshape the Middle East, and it caused a problem. And then the Muslims, or not Muslims, the Bedouins. What we're talking about is people who are going around the desert. Yes, the thing is, they're going around the desert. So of course, you can't live forever in the desert. There's nothing there. There's no food there, nothing. What the hell are you going to do? There's no homes. It's almost no toilets, no nothing. So Baghdad city, more and more people were coming. But where did these people come from? Yes, these people had nowhere to go, so they were going to the city areas. Yes, so the people who arrived first in the cities, yes, and mysteriously those people then became Jews. A similar story in Morocco, in Algeria, in Tunisia, in Iran. It's because the Europeans arrived, and the thing is, all these so-called schools that mysteriously became classified as Jewish schools opened up. And now the thing is, many people can check the history of this organization. There is an organization like what you call it, yes, in Europe that was organizing all these schools. Don't forget, the Jesuits set up in Paris. Yes, the Jesuits set up in Paris, in France. Yes, and then the thing is, an organization, yes, from France, from the French Empire, went all around the world, Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and everywhere, and they were opening all these schools, and everyone turns around and calls them that they were a Jewish organization. There is no evidence that they were organized by Jewish people. Yes, and the thing is, the official history, they will say that they were officially opened by 1860, but the thing is, they're opening all these schools. They've got all these teachers. They've got everything ready now to go preach the Talmud, the Mishnah, and the current Old Testament in Hebrew. Now, the thing is, who were these people and what they wanted to do? And what they were doing is this. Everybody will notice these what do you call it? These Moroccan Jews, Algerian Jews, French Jews, Italian Jews, Iranian Jews, everybody, yes, they were learning French. But French at that time, yes, don't forget, even in France, people couldn't speak French. This is another thing. But they're going there and they're spreading it, and they knew that their competition was the Quran. So now many of these Jews who are already there, right now in Israel, you can ask the old people and say, hey, your grandparents, is it true many of them were so-called Muslims and they intermarried with Muslims? Let's do a blood test, Iraqi Jews. Yes, Iraqi Muslims. And you'll find they're 100% the same. Yes. So now the thing is, if you study the history of this organization, yeah, you'll find that what do you call it? It's very suspicious that we can't find the true history of this organization that they claim that it was what do you call it? Yes, it was opened by the French government. Yes, yes. And the thing is, you will even see that what do you call it? Many of these members and funders, it was being funded by the French government, whoever they are. Like, for example, there's this man here. I've just sent you him. Same like you know, the compilation of the Quran. Yes, the compilation of the manuscripts. I mean, in Egypt, that you will see the Europeans were involved. Here is he's a French lawyer, politician. He was the Minister of Justice under the Republic of 1848 of Napoleon III. And the history of Napoleon III is a joke. It's just a total joke that the entire history of the 19th century is a lie. And they're saying he was the president of this alliance, Israélite Universelle. Yes, because now the thing is, we can't even find people who are speaking French. Yes, in France, that what we do find about the French language, yes, is so suspicious. Um, Let me just show you, because the thing is, many people don't check these things. And in France, they can't even speak French, but these people have already got teachers. They've got what they will call, who are going to go around deserts everywhere, and they're paying them to go to Baghdad, to go to Casablanca, yes, Tangier, to go to Tehran, to go to Delhi in India. They're going everywhere. Yes, to go to Warsaw, to go to Thessaloniki, to go to Istanbul, and they're opening up. It's not a school like today, you know, a classroom with 10, 20 children, then they grow bigger. But they had, for that time, they had billions of dollars. They're opening up these so-called Jewish schools. Yes, can you see this?
Hmm.
Where did they get this money from? And can you imagine what the desert, these desert places look like? They were very small, and nobody is questioning these things. And these people, they already could speak French, which is suspicious. Yes, you see?
Hmm.
Hello?
So they were
Can
prepared. Hmm.
Yes. And the thing is, the dates and everything. Now, if anybody doesn't, if you don't read my book, Napoleon Did Not Exist, you will not understand this at all. Now, I'm sending this, what do you call it, yes, to show the history of the French language. Yes, that even in World War One, many people from England went to France, and in World War Two, and they found from England that people are saying, hey, these guys can't even speak French. Yes, and in 1789, yes, 50% of the French people couldn't speak it at all, and only 10% could speak it basic, fairly. Only 10%. That even in World War One, the worst thing is, in World War One, many people went from England, they turned around and said, we didn't know if they were French, or if they were Germans, or if they were English. And the English couldn't even speak English properly, these soldiers who went there, because they didn't go to school. They were speaking their local dialects. They didn't know what the hell was going on. So the thing is, the thing is, what is Islam and what is Judaism? This is a very serious thing. These people are opening up schools, and they've taken Talmuds, manuscripts, and everything over there. And last time we spoke about that in Baghdad, one of the people who they made into a rabbi. We don't know what was going on in that family in particular. But let me show you an example. These Bedouins who were coming. Let me just show what it's like. I want you to think right now. Yes, this looks, can you imagine you're living like this, and you've just arrived in Baghdad, and the Europeans have arrived, and this isn't clear. I'll have to, sorry, I'll send it to you again. I want you to imagine this right now, that you have just arrived in Baghdad. Now, nobody is questioning where these people came from. I'll send you another clear copy screenshot. So they've just arrived. Now you've got the Europeans arriving, who are going to say, hey, you've got 4 or 5 children, you're living in tents, we're going to give your children a free meal, just let them come here, we're going to educate them. What are you going to say? Sure, yeah, of course. Now their children and their grandchildren mysteriously became Jewish. Now the next generation that came along mysteriously became Sunni Muslims. And then they became Shia Muslims in that region in Baghdad. This is not a joke. Yes, and but we'll go through this history next time. I brought this up because they are going to tell you that the moment you study the Kabbalah, they're going to say it's some type of Jewish mysticism. Now, the thing is, I'm going to show you some suspicious things that many people don't know. Yes, and this is going to get what do you call it? Yes. This is going to this is from the New York Historical Society Museum and Library. Now, this is going to really shock you here. Yes, this is really going to shock you here. New York City Center was, you could say, a shrine or a temple. It was a chosen place. Then, basically, you can say the entire city center if you want. But what type of city center was it, and what was it? Yes, and then the thing is, you go down and you go down, and this is what you will see. Yes, let me just show you. Yes, and this is what you will see. Yes, you go down it, and what do you see? It was the Temple of Mecca. Now, this let me just give you this picture in full, and then it's not just the building. We're talking about the entire city here. Yes, the New York City Center. So, what do you call it? Yes. This building, you know what they say is the center of the city, or anyway. Let me just show you. The thing is, they have given us this history, so we don't know the truth of this history. Yes. So now the thing is, um, people will say New York is one third Jewish today, based on what people are being educated in. Yes. Now they will say this. They will call it a Mecca temple. What we don't know what this is. Yes. What this is, it's the history they tell us, and they say it later became, the building was sold as music and drama as whoever was there moved on. Yes. So now the strange thing is you can't find the true history of this place. Yes, it's been modified and hidden. But let me just show you a few examples of what used to go on in New York 100 years ago. Yes, that you are going to turn around and think, what the hell is this, David? You're not going to see this today. Yes, have a look. Parades in New York, what do you see? You're going to think, hey, isn't this the, what do you call it, the Empire of Kaiser William in Germany? Or is this not the Ottoman Empire?
Exactly, they all have these fez hats, no? Pretty many of them.
Yes, and look at them wearing the Arabian scarves. And the other thing is, now today, this is today. It's everybody knows this. New York, New Jersey, this area is basically one third Jewish. Yes, and New York is the heart of the American economy. New York is America. Maybe the official capital is in Washington D.C. New York is basically one third Jewish, intermarried, linked. You could say half of Jewish is related to Jewish people or something. So the thing is, and they're saying it's declining. It's not declining. But many people will say the actual city, what do you call it? Yes, and with intermarriages and everything is probably one third Jewish. This is what I would say. Yes. So now the thing is, now when you look at the New York Jewish community, yes, many of them didn't dress how they dress today, as Orthodox Jews. Yes, Orthodox Jewish dress, it changed. Yes, in the last 150 years, that you'll see them wearing black dresses and everything in the hats. That you will see that the designs came from these Jewish schools that were opened were opened in Eastern Europe by the Israelite Alliance and by other organizations. There was a big competition. They were opening up Sunni schools in Shia schools. Yes, and the thing is, many people don't know about this. The Ottoman Empire was forcing people to do Ramadan in Eastern Europe, whoever these Ottomans were in the late 19th century. So now in New York, we will see that the parades look like this. So now the thing is, where did these other people disappear? Or has the system changed? Yes. Now the thing is, you'll find many of these strange photographs. Let me just send you this, or otherwise we are not going to understand the Kabbalah. Now, many people will start judging these things immediately. Don't judge. Yes, if this takes another video, maybe it will take another video. There used to be parades in American city centers that look like this. Have you received the pictures? You're going to think this is becoming suspicious. Yes, have you received the picture? There used to be
Yes.
parades in America. Yes. So the thing is, let me just send you that there's all these shrines, something to do with Islam that people can't figure out. Now, here is General Colin Powell, yes, visiting one of these Masonic lodges, and they have these Islamic festivals. Many people don't know what this is. Yes, here is Colin Powell, and the thing is, it's because people don't understand what is Masonry and what it's linked with, and the thing is, I'll show you a few things, and the thing is, many people, the thing is, because I haven't spoken about this before, yes, in the books, it's because this is going too deep. But I've noticed now that many people are investigating what I'm saying, and they keep saying, why is David talking about this Islam? So I turned around and thought, hey, I've got to bring this up, or otherwise I wasn't going to bring this up. Yes, the thing is, I wasn't going to bring it up. People can do the research themselves. I wasn't going to bring it up because it's going too deep. But now many people are asking. So I turned around and thought, okay, if you're asking, you'll have to do the further research yourself. I cannot write about 50 books or 100 books. All of these books, they're going to take too much time. Like, let me show you what the millionaires, billionaires, and everybody else, what they used to do in, what do you call it, in America. And the thing is this, you will notice, what do you call it, there's something strange, as if the pyramids were built recently, that they're having their dinners, many of these people in Masonic organizations or whatever, as if the pyramids were built recently. Yes, and the damage on the outside has been through the weather recently. Yes, that you could see this. This is at their dinner. This is what you call it at a dinner. I think it's 1926, September the 18th and September the 19th. Yes, and they're having a dinner. Notice the third pyramid is not there. Yes, did you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So now the thing is, you will see that many American leaders are involved in this, and you will see the thing is Edgar Hoover and many of these other people. Not only Edgar Hoover, who was the wartime president during the atomic bombs. I've forgotten his name. That you will see that they're wearing hats. Yes, during World War II. That says Arabia. It doesn't say Europa. Oh, Ararat. Sorry. No, they've got these Arabia hats as well. Let me just find them. So the thing is, many
But
people
these,
don't
just to
know
be
what.
clear, this section of the Masonic organization would literally be called the Shriners, no? That's what these
Right.
guys are, no?
The thing is, they're hiding everything. Don't believe anything. All these stories are just lies. I'm not going to go off these official stories because it's just a lie. The moment you go from the official stories, that's it. You don't stand a chance
Mm-hmm.
to understand anything because you've believed it. You understand? Yes, it's like the moment you are somebody who thinks I believe in Christ and the blood and everything, yes, then that's it. It's too late. You will not see Christ as a human or the history. So now here is John Wayne, and the thing is because these people are in multiple organizations, they're not in one. You understand? It's because they're doing multiple projects. That's what these organizations are there for. They're doing multiple projects. You see? Yes. So now the thing is, these are big organizations that you'll see. U.S. presidents, you call them Masons or whatever, and everything, and all these other people. But the thing is, what is Masonry? People don't know what is Masonry. So now the thing is, everybody knows that these people are using the Kabbalah. So once again, I would advise people to understand the Kaaba and the Allah. Yes, the thing is, let's look at this Kaaba in Mecca, and I pointed out its location, and let's look at this Allah, and their central document is the Quran. Yes. So now the thing is, all these Illuminati organizations, whatever section, whatever group, communists, Democrats, whatever organization and politics, everybody says the communists and the democracy and all these ideas, it came from them and all these religions. So now the thing is, if people are going to judge these things straight away, you are not going to understand anything. Yes, and the thing is, people are going to turn around and call the Masons different departments. When they have their festivals, it doesn't matter which department you're in. Yes, because you'll see them the people going to multiple festivals, multiple things. And it's to do with history and planning future events for the world. Yeah, that if you see them in Europe and America, nobody understands what's going on. These are the Masons of Mecca, of New York. What the hell is going on? And it's known that New York was called Mecca in the past. What the hell is going on here? Yes. So the thing is, nobody is going to understand these things without doing research. So without doing research, and for some reason, yes, for some reason, um, um, it's almost like nobody wants you to talk about the Quran. Yes, and you can't go there. Yes. So now the thing is, I'll give you an example. Yes. Now this is very important information because everybody's going to say, "Okay, David, you mentioned the Quran, but what about other things?" Yes, I'm pointing out all these other things that these secret organizations or the Illuminati or the ruling people, it's a lie. The history of Adam Weishaupt and the 19th century and the Rothschilds is a lie. We cannot find this history in the 19th century. Okay, let's have a look at this. Here is Augustus Peters. They will tell you, he's from Canada, and he was at the Grand Lodge of the state of New York, and accepted Masons. Yeah, and they'll say he's 33rd degree or whatever. Yeah. Now the thing is, we can't find his history because they've lied about the full 19th century. So if you're going to look up these people's history, everything is a lie. Forget it. So now the rest of it, you'll have to figure it out. And nobody is telling you that all this history and everything is a lie, except these people who are from the other side of the world, called these Muslims, and they're screaming, it's all a lie, forget it. Now what you will see, he's got the moon and the star, and he's holding a rod, and he's got a triangle and a pyramid there, and he's got the two lions there. Now, I've never said this openly before, but Napoleon in Arabic basically means, Nabi means a prophet, and lion, the lion prophet.
Hmm.
Lion prophet. Yes. Now this is very important because he went to Moscow and Moscow was empty. Yes, or Eastern Europe, half the people left. That's why you will notice that a lot of the land is like depopulated in Eastern Europe, like in Bulgaria. Anybody who goes there, travels the cities, will think, what's all this land doing here? Why is it there? Yes, the city area people, even the cities are going empty. They're coming to the European Union. But even if you went there 20 years ago, the land is empty. What the hell is going on here? Yes. So more than half of Europe. You take the train from Marseille to Lyon, Lyon um, to Paris, or you go from Paris, you go by road to Bordeaux or to Toulouse. You'll notice the countryside is empty. It's dead. What the hell is going on? Almost like we can, and then you'll see all these churches and ruins in the middle of the countryside throughout France. That these churches had a function and a purpose. Now the Quran tells you many of the reasons of why these places are like this: population replacement, what these buildings were originally there for the water supply, and for some type of energy supply. But the Quran also tells you something else that's strange. Now, let me tell you this, that this is actually worrying what the Quran says. This is these are basic translations, but you can go through it for word. Now, let me show you what it says here. Now, anybody who reads my books will turn and say, David, the Illuminati, they look like they're so smart. The way they're using the Kabbalah, the numbers, the mathematics is so advanced. It looks like they're planning 50 years ahead or even 100 years ahead. Now, let's see what the Quran says. Now, the Bible doesn't tell you this. The Vedas don't tell you this. Nobody else tells you this. Now, this is why I didn't ignore it. It turned around and says, we have provided. Yes, some people say it's good things. It doesn't, in the original, it doesn't say good things. In another one, it says we gave good things. We gave these, it says, nay, we gave these. Somebody else says gave these, and somebody else translates it as Shakir says we gave provision. Most of these translations are based on 100 years ago. We've been providing these people, yes, something. Or it says luxuries for somebody called Mohsin. But the thing is, let's go to the original. Now, the thing is, anybody who opens it up is going to find that. So I thought I'll go to the Quran original word for word. And do you know what I found? Yes, this is what I find. Yes, it says, we gave provision. It says, we gave them something. We gave these people and their fathers, yes, until grew long. Wait, look at what it says. it says that they were given something. And what were they given? And their fathers, until grew long for them, their life has grown long, that they can live longer. That look at the word for long, tall, Tal. Now somebody is going to say that's Germanic word. We use this in England, tall or long. Somebody will say, no, 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 this is what you call it, Arabic. That's why I've turned around and said, you check the roots of these Arabic words. Yes, what do you call it? Yes, that it's not difficult. It says, and their fathers, Abbahum, Abba, is an international word. And then the word Umar, their life or length of their life, you will find this in Turkish or in Sanskrit. It's to do with life and to do with long life or the number of years. Yes, so it turns out and says these people are living longer. Now that chapter in the Quran, that if anybody opens it up, is chapter 21. And then it talks about saying nobody has got eternal life. But then it turned around and says these people are denying God or something. And in that chapter, that it's talking about these people, and it turned around and says something, this is to do with the Kabbalah. Yes, that in this chapter, the Quran says a very big statement. Yes, it turned around and says that in that chapter, it's basically talking about these people. It says they're living longer. We don't know how much longer, 50 years longer, 100 years longer, 200 years longer, 500 years longer. Wait, they're living longer. God has given them some sort of provision that they can live long. Wait. Now, then it turned around, while it's in this chapter. So now in this chapter, it turns around and says something else. It says, can you not see that the sky, when it says the heavens, I'm not talking about paradise or imaginary something. I'm talking about that the sky above you, what you can see, and this earth that we're on, whether you want to say flat earth, round earth, whatever. Yes, that they were together as one mass. Now, this is very important. Then you will understand astronomy, astrology, and the planning of dates and events. You see, and locations that many people are saying. Let me just show you something now. Yes, many people will say this, and they will say this is to do with the Kabbalah, blah blah blah, and people will say it's mystical, mysterious, and everything, and they can't understand these things. You can't unless what do you call it? Yes, unless if you because the Quran tells you this. So these people who are in power already know this, and they will tell you as above, so below. Yes. So now what do you call it? Yes, many people will say Washington D.C., New York, everything. That these are it's not just mystical. That now they can't hide it. So many people have noticed it, that it's even in Wikipedia and everywhere else where you will see the city layouts. For example, Canberra, yes, in Australia, where they totally designed the city.
Yeah.
And many people will say Illuminati, Kabbalah, blah blah blah. You're not going to understand it unless, yes, if you know the basic, and the Quran tells you the basic. So the sky above you is equal to the earth below. They were joined together. So when we look above, we can figure out geography from the stars and the rotation, so we can figure out the movement. So now here's Canberra, and people are going to say, hey, this is that. So the thing is, many people are going to say, hey, Illuminati, blah, 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 these people plan it out. Whatever. Yes, you can go on with yourself, but you are not going to understand this, yes, unless if you understand how they think in the Kaaba of Allah. And they know the best way to build a city or design the city locations is to follow the system of God. And who is their God? Kaaba and Allah, their God is Allah. They are following, because the creator, or this Allah, yes, is going to create the world in the most perfect way. This Alpha and Omega, yes, so they follow this system, and they don't want you to learn it. Now, the only people who are learning it, yes, is the Muslims learn it, and some people in what do you call it, in Orthodox schools. Yes, they are the two last groups, I will say. Yes, who are learning this, and the people in the upper class families. So the thing is, everybody knows about Washington D.C. That's why I didn't send you that one. But so I sent you an example. Like Washington D.C., people are going to say, "Hey, Kabbalah, this is to do with the Baphomet, blah blah blah." Look, grow up. Yes, the thing is, nobody is giving any proper answers. So the layout is based on as above, so below, because this is the way that the Alpha and the Omega, which spells Allah, I pointed this out before, in case somebody will say, what is David talking about here? Let me just show the Alpha and the Omega. Like you can open it up. You can open up manuscripts last 200, 300, 400, 500 years, 1,000 years, and you will see that Allah is written, Alpha and Omega is written like this. In churches, they'll do different decorations, but the Alpha and the Omega is there, and then the Alpha and Omega forms this symbol. It forms Allah, not Elah, where they say, oh, in the Bible they translate it into Jesus Christ said, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Oh God, you've forsaken me. No, the word is Allah, not Elah. It's an alpha, it's an A. It is not the Elipha or the elephants. So now these people are following the Kabbalah or the way of Allah, and they're designing the cities like this. Nothing evil, nothing mysterious, as above, so below. And they're using this mathematics 19 and 33 because there's 33 major shining stars. So now when they plan and organize their events, now they will know this because, you know, of course, if you don't read the Quran, you won't know this. The Quran tells you that the Quran tells you this. Yes. And what do you call it? Yes. What do you call it? Yes. And in many books, in many Jewish books, the thing is, many people don't know. They'll have to look online, and you will see Jewish rabbis are openly saying that there's the signs of God in the stars. Yes. What do you call it? Yes. And let me just quote the exact quote from the Quran. And what do you call it? Yes. So it tells on and says, so these people know that the signs, like the Quran and the Bible, it tells you a story of Joseph, the prophet Joseph. Some people will say address him with respect. I've got friends in Israel who insist and say, don't just say Moses or Moshe, say the prophet Moses, because there's many people like that. But anyway, Joseph, the prophet Joseph has dreams. So no, somebody else has, he interprets them. It's a sign from God. So now the thing is, the Quran tells you that the sky was connected to the earth. Now to understand the Kabbalah, yes, and the way of Allah, the word Kabbalah in Arabic, when you join it, they say Qibla, or the way of Allah, or the direction of Allah, or the system of Allah, of how Allah created the Alpha and the Omega, created the world, and the science of this. Yes, is what do you call it? Yes, it says the earth and the sky was joined together. If it was joined together, yes, then when you look up there, as above, so below. So you look for the signs above and below. Yes, the geography and the geometry. Yes, so now let me show you what the Quran tells you, because this is the old world system. Yes, and that's why there's a Kaaba in Mecca for the old world education system. And it turns around and says that God has subjected for us we're humans, for our benefits, the night and the day, yes, and the sun and the moon. And the stars have been subjected by the command of God. And it says, in these are signs for those who understand. There's and it says in these things, in the stars, and then it turns around and says more. Yes. What do you call it? Yes. These are from the Quran. So now the thing is, in Muslim countries now, modern Islam is stopping people from investigating the stars and these signs. Yes. Now, modern religions are. Now, the only people are looking at these are people who are studying the Kabbalah or the way of Allah. Yes. Now, let me just show you now. In the Quran, it turns out says, he has appointed for you the stars. God has commanded the stars that through these stars you might be guided. What are you going to be guided in the shadows of the land, and we have distinguished the signs. It goes on. It says, it is we who have made these signs in the heavens and made them beautiful to the beholders. Yeah, and what do you call it? Yes, in them you are going to find the signs. Yes. So now the thing is, God has put these signs there, or the creator. If you don't want to believe in God, now many people who are within the Kabbalah and say that, what do you call it, these signs are there, God didn't make them, it's just part of nature, it's part of the system. So this is why when we build cities, when we design the cities, when we choose locations, we base it on this Kabbalah system or the way of Allah. You see, and then the mathematics based on the stars. The stars, there is it forms the universal clock. Yes, and the Mecca is based on the cardinal points. Let me just show you. Yes, what do you, let me just find this. But what do you call it? In astronomy, there's 33 major shining stars. That it's divided into 33. What do you call it? In many of these organizations, 33 bright stars. But I'm looking for it. Let me just see if I can find it, because I'm looking for it, but for some reason I can't find this. But many organizations use this. There's a list of 33. But anyway, the thing is that you'll find it in many of these documents. I can't find it right now. It's divided into 33 sections, 33 major stars. Maybe I'm typing in 33 major stars. I can't find it. But anyway, I'll have to prepare this for another interview. So the human clock is based on this, longitude and latitudes, everything is based on this, the science and the geography. That I will give you an example now. When you're planning a wedding and an event, you're going to base it on this Kabbalah. You don't know this naturally. So you'll turn and say, I don't want to have my wedding on this date because I know it's going to rain. I know it's going to be cold. Oh, I want it to be in the cold because I want it to snow. So once again, you're going to look at the seasons, the stars, the sun and the moon. Which season is it in? Is there going to be sunshine? So we base it on Kabbalah, but we don't realize it. The weather is based on Kabbalah, how we calculate things. Yes, you see this, Raphael? Yes, and now the thing is, many people, you can ask their grandparents, even in Muslim countries, they used to think, people became superstitious. That's the wrong way. It is supposed to be more academical. That when you turn around and think, hey, what do you call it, when you're going to plan certain dates, certain events. So people turn around and think, hey, that somebody will turn around and think, I'm going to use what do you call it, the 33rd day of the year. I think it sounds lucky. I don't want to choose this day. I want to choose number one, the first day, because there's one God. It's up to you. No need to be superstitious. But anyway, let me show you a picture of Shanghai. What do you call it? A picture of Shanghai, and then you will see how it was designed. And many people will say, Illuminati, Kabbalah. Well, the thing is, it's because if you want to really find out about Illuminati, Kabbalah, or whatever, you're going to have to look at the other side of the world. And the thing is, yeah, the word Kabbalah, I can't see it anything to do with anything else apart from Kaaba, Islam, Mecca, Kaaba, because the Muslims have the Kaaba, and or Allah is to do with Allah in Islam. And the thing is, just in case anybody who doesn't know this, there's new viewers, I'll just send this picture again. Yes, that the most organized Kaaba, or the organized Kabbalah, or Kibbalah in a modern Arabic today, or the way of Allah, the most organized system for this today is what you call it. Yes, we can see at the Kaaba located in Mecca in Saudi Arabia, and its geographical location is no accident. I will go through that in a minute. I just want to go through Shanghai with you. And what people will see is that in Shanghai, 20, 30 years ago, in the Pudong site, there was nothing there. And if you compare it to today, you do know about this, about Pudong in Shanghai? Yes?
No.
Ah, you don't know? Here is same picture. It's not letting me send it to you. Let me just find another copy. Like 30 years ago, this is what Pudong looks like in Shanghai. Yes, and the thing is, you will notice the mathematical layout is to do with Kaaba, Allah, or Kabbalah, and Kabbalah mathematics, and it's a good thing. So that's what Shanghai looked like then. Yes. Now the thing is, I found a double photograph to send, but let's see. If the double photograph, no, it's not letting me send it to you. But the thing is, all these tall buildings that we see in Shanghai, there was nothing there. It was just basic farmland. Oh, it's forget that one. It's not sent properly. I found a better one. I'm sending it to you. Have you seen the new picture?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There's nothing there in Shanghai, as you can see. Yes. So now when we see the planning and the way that they built the city, that the thing is, anybody like who's into, you'll notice that there's the waterway there or the river. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. So now the thing is, anybody who understands this is to do with nature. It's nothing to do with being evil or anything. So what happened there? Everybody thinks the Chinese built the city. Half these things were designed in Europe and America, and the Chinese provided the labor and the workforce. You can check these buildings because they didn't have the technology or anything. But anyway, let me just show something. This tall tower that we see in there's a tall tower with a round circle. Can you see that? Yes, there's a tower. Now, I will show something that if you are in Shanghai, what you will know that the thing is, if you've been going there for 20 years like me, then you will notice that these many buildings weren't there. They're putting new ones there. Um, Let me just find Shanghai Tower. What do you call it? I don't know what that one's called. Shanghai Tower. Ah, I don't know which one. But anyway, can you see the one that looks like a needle, like a spaceship or something?
Yeah, the biggest one.
Not
Or
not the biggest one with two round circles. Can you see that? You can't see it?
well,
Ah,
there's
you can't see that picture. Sorry. Ah,
okay.
yes. Now I've sent you another one. Now I want you to look carefully at this picture here. Yeah. If you move to the left or the right, you could walk around that place. I've walked around it. What you will notice, I'm trying to find a picture from the center. Yes, that if you are in Shanghai and you're stood at the center, um, the thing is, do you see that building? It actually flashes lights. Yes. Can you see the one that looks like a needle right
Yes,
now?
yes.
Yes. And did you notice that what you call it? Yes, that needle is right beside the river. And did you notice that there's two round balls
Yeah.
beside that?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes, it's representing fertility. You understand?
All right.
So they built that building. It was one of the first buildings. And then they're showing, hey, the children are growing. You understand? Because they did it based on nature, based on the Kabbalah, in the way of Allah. And some people will say, hey, it's a sexual symbol. They're putting these sexual symbols, like throughout New York, throughout Chicago, Los Angeles, you'll find them in Latin America. It's because they're trying to show fertility. You understand? It's nothing to do with evil or something. It's because they're trying to show a symbol. Same like I put this in my book, what do you call it? Jerusalem is in Europe. What you will notice that what do you call it? The evidence shows that it was King Solomon who organized the construction of all these cathedrals worldwide. Yes, and the thing is, let me just show you what the thing is. Many people don't know this. Yes, but the Quran is amazing because it's only one book. In one book, it tells you all these things in one book. Yes, and the thing is, what they don't tell you, yes, is that what do you call it? The cathedrals and all these mosques, yes, have these strange things. Is that they've got rib arches? Yes. Did you read that book, Jerusalem in
Mm-hmm.
Europe?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did I send you that?
Yes.
Yes. So the thing is, they've got rib arches. Yes, and the thing is, of course, they're not going to teach you these things basic when you go to school in Europe and that's why it's a big thing. Who built these cathedrals? How? What? But the thing is, what's the for some strange reason, I don't even know why. The Quran actually tells you King Solomon built these buildings, and they've got these what do you call it? These rib arches. The Quran tells you. Yes, and the thing is, and they call them rib vaults. Yes, in English. So now the thing is, this is in my book, Jerusalem is in Europe. You won't understand it unless if you read the book. Yes, I can't do anything. I can't put everything in one video. But anyway, they're the same as human rib cages. Yes. Now the thing is, whoever designed them designed it based on nature. Yes, the rib cages. Yes, here it is again, that page. And the thing is, nobody tells you this. Many people think, damn, I've never heard this story before. Yeah, so the strange thing is, in the Quran, it's telling you these people, the Kabbalah or whoever these people are, they're living longer. Then in that same chapter, is saying, can you not see these places were joined together? Then it turns around and says in that same chapter before it, somewhere it says, nobody lives forever. So you guys who are living long, God has given you a long life. God has given you some provision, some mechanism or something where you're living longer. We don't know how long they're living. And it turns around and says, nobody lives forever. Quran, um, immortal. Let me just see. It's because I went through this just a few hours ago with somebody who's a Muslim, and it turned around and says, what do you call it? Yes. What do you call it? Yes. That you're not going to live forever. And then it even turned around and says that the messengers of God were not prophets of God or professors of God, don't live forever. They weren't superstitious guys doing magical baba 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 and they did some magic. No, it turned out says that these people were humans and mortals. Yes, like the prophet Moshe was a mortal Moses. Yes. So the thing is, in that chapter in 21, yeah, it turned out, it talks about, it says that those people who think they're immortal, they're not going to be immortal, they're going to die. And it says nobody, that God has not granted anybody immortality. Yes, let me just see this. But anyway, it turned around and says, it turned around and says, are they immortal in this chapter? And then it after that thing, it says they are living longer because God has given them some form of provision. Yes, yeah. It turns around and says we have never. It doesn't say we. It's translated as we because in Latin languages, God is plural, the Trinity. Yeah. So the thing is, they've translated it. Anybody who translates to European languages, most of these translations are 100 years old, by the way. Yeah, and it's based on Jesuit dictionaries. So they put we. And many Muslims say, oh, maybe it's a sign of respect. It's a sign of respect in the Jesuit Trinity, we plural God language for what they've done for Christianity. It says, God has never decreed immortality for anyone before you. Yes, do they think that they're immortal? And then after that, it goes on and says that, what do you call it? Yes, that God has given them some provision, has given them something whereby their life has been extended. Yes, that they've got a longer life. So this is the Illuminati. Now the thing is, if people want to figure out all the numbers and the star charts, you put them together, you'll be able to figure out the Kabbalah and these events, how you plan things, organize things. Because the thing, it's a beautiful thing. You are going to use astronomy to plan events, saying I want to do it on this date, and yeah, hopefully it turns out well for you. Now there is another thing in the Kabbalah and the Zohar. Jewish rabbis have condemned this. Yes. The thing is, we'll have to go through it another day because it's a deep subject and many Muslims have condemned this. The thing is, what do you call it? But there is some people who are Muslims, Jews, and Illuminati who are doing this, whereby what they try to do is steal information from from the Grand Assembly of God or something. This is a totally different subject. But anyway, the thing is, what they do is so above as below, and this mathematics in the Kabbalah, it's not Kabbalah, it's just natural mathematics. It's nature. You understand? It's creation, and that's why it's called Kabbalah or the way of Allah. And now the Quran tells you it's just science, and it says study it. This is what the Kabbalah is in Islam, or the Qibla, or the way of Allah. Study the stars, study this science, apply this. This is the way of God. This is the best successful way. So when people organized false flags or events, people will use the same mathematics, yes, and even in business, inputs, outputs, profits, loss accounts, anything, you will apply this same system. Yes. Now in this system, interest in banking doesn't work. That's why we have these false economies, booms and busts, because there is no such thing as interest when a flower grows in the flower of life, because it doesn't work. Yes, it's natural. It goes to the highest degree and then it reverses and then everybody dies. There is no such thing as immortal. But anyway, this is a big thing because the thing is, we don't know how long these people are living for. This is something that should shock people. Now, the thing is, that's why the Quran, they don't want you to read it because you're going to figure out, hey, this is the Kabbalah. This is why they're doing these designs. This is how it works. Yes, these people, they got this provision. They're living certain number of years or they're living long. Yes, we don't know how long it says that. The rest of the rest of the Quran, whatever information, I am not some Superman that's read this book to understand everything. You guys are going to have to read it. But the thing is, the Quran talks about these people, and then it says, "These people. Do you think you're going to live forever, guys? Do you think? Yeah, God doesn't let anybody else live forever. Have you not seen that the rest of them have died, and you're going to die too? Yeah. So the thing is, I'm surprised the Muslims don't talk about this. Yeah. Hey, by the way, Mr. Muslims, where the hell are you guys? Why don't you talk about these things? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So the thing is, I don't know why that's why I turn on think modern Islam with these fake books that the Europeans, not Europeans, that the Vatican, the French, and the British, and these secret societies and organizations, they put these things there, and that's why the Illuminati themselves, they're not against Islam. Yes, they are not at war with Islam. They are at war to make sure that you don't learn what's in this original Islam, so that you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's there. Because the thing is, the moment you figure out that what do you call it? Hey, the Quran is already telling you these stories, then you will know how these events are planned. You will know why they're laying out the streets like this. You will know why the architecture has these things. Now, in school, they're not even teaching you these things. You have to learn it at master's degree level or something beyond then. And then, even in many of these companies, most of the workers are from secret societies and organizations that they don't want you to know. Yes, but the thing is, so now the thing is, the Quran teaches you these simple things. Of course, they don't want you to read it. So I've told people, be careful with the translations. Go for word for word. Even the word for word dictionaries, many of the words have false things that I have to go through it many times. Yes. Anyway,
Yep.
Raphael, how long have we been talking? I don't even know.
We've been going for about an hour.
What's the exact? It doesn't say it on my
One
thing
one
because I'm
hour,
not.
7 minutes.
Is that all? I thought it's been longer. But anyway, I think that's enough information for today. It's such a big revelation. Yes, the
Perfect.
Illuminati in the Quran will be a good title for this. Yes, but the thing is, many people, if they're going to say, hey, what is going on here, this, that, I advise them, yeah, I've put as much information as I can in my books. This is one. The rest, I advise people that I found this information from the Quran many years ago. That's where I found it. Yes, that I figured out Professor Anatoly Fomenko, he's an astronomer, mathematician. Yeah, let me just show you. Anatoly Fomenko, astronomical cal. Yeah, because they organized history based on astronomical calculations and everything else. Yes, and then the thing is, Professor Anatoly Fomenko, what he did, he showed, hey, this history is a fake. So I'm trying to make it easy because Fomenko's books are too difficult. So I put it on paper. Anybody who wants to, they're welcome to read the books. Yeah, so let me just show you. Professor Fomenko, yes, did this. Yes, that he found the forgeries in history. Fomenko examines astronomical events described in the ancient texts. Yes, and then he shows that there's a mathematical forgery, and it's a he says history is a conspiracy. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. Professor Anatoly Fomenko. So now Wikipedia, of course, is going to say, say some lies about Professor Fomenko. But anyway, what he does is that he shows the astronomical and mathematical analysis. Like, for example, I'll just go through this last point. He goes through the Almagest. You know the Almagest, or you don't know it?
No.
The so-called um, the Greek book. Let me see if I have this information in front of me. Then I'll go through it. I don't know if I've got this organized. Let me just go through. If I have it, I don't know. Let me see. If I don't, then we'll have to leave it. Yes, I've got it. Ptolemy or Ptolemy, however people pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
Ptolemy and his Almagest, yes? Ptolemy, and they say he wrote down the history of all the eclipses in ancient Greece, ancient world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? You know this. And so now let me just go through this. Bullstein. Don't Bullstein me. Yes, in these American movies, I like it. So now the thing is, I'll just go through this quickly, and people are going to say, yeah, David, that Professor Fomenko doesn't even mention it. He shows that there's lies, mathematical, whatever, but for some reason, Professor Fomenko doesn't go deep into this Kabbalah mathematics. He basically turned around and says the Koran was used in churches in Europe. They're lying. Yeah, he openly says this, and then he says, what do you call it? Yes, that non-Vatican Christianity, that people call Orthodox Christianity, and the Arians and everybody else, he said they didn't follow what do you call it? Vatican Christianity, nor did they follow modern Orthodox Christianity, nor did they follow modern Islam, but they were one religion, that this old original Islam and original Christianity and original Judaism was one religion. Professor Fomenko points it out. And then the Jesuits and their allies invented these new religions. But let me go to Ptolemy. I like saying Ptolemy. If you just say Ptolemy or like this, people don't know, but the so-called ancient Greek mathematician or astronomer. Let's go through the Bullstein, and then people will know. Now, if you don't read my book, Ancient Greece Did Not Exist, you will not understand this. So now the thing is, and let me just show you what they're teaching us. Yeah, he says Ptolemy recorded in the Almagest, yeah, the total eclipse on 19th March BC 721. Get real. Get real. 19th of March 721 BC. Now, let's see. Let's go to Ptolemy's Almagest. And notice once again, it's Arabic, Almagest. Yes, Alma. And then they say the Arabs preserved the manuscripts. In Book 3, Chapter 7, wait, Ptolemy has recorded 19 major eclipses. Are you beginning to see it here now?
Mm-hmm.
This Ptolemy is a forgery. Can you see it now? 19 eclipses recorded in the Almagest Bullialdus, blah, blah, blah. You can check this yourself. People will think, what the hell is going on here, David? Yes. And then what do you call it? So the first eclipse, I think, was 19th of March, 721 BC. Now, the second eclipse that he's recorded, check through the dates. Nobody ever checks through them. I was going to put this in a future book, no time. It's in the month of Thoth on the 18th and 19th in the Egyptian calendar. Yes, or in the year 719 BC. That's the second one. The first one is the first eclipse he records. I think the first one is 19th of March 721. I sent you that already. Oh, the second eclipse he's recorded is on the 19th of Thoth on the year 719 BC in the modern calendar. Can't you just smell the Bullstein? Yes?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, who recorded this first ever recorded eclipse in history? Now you know this history is just Bullstein. The ancient Babylonians, according to Greek astronomer Ptolemy, recorded on 19th of March 721 BC, the
Mm-hmm.
first ever recorded eclipse in world history, guys. I just love this thing. So now, so Claudius Ptolemy saying the most genuine, apart from the Babylonians, he says the Babylonians recorded did, but the most genuine observation, or let's say of a lunar eclipse that was ever made in history, and people turn around and say it was fabricated too, but they want you to study this. They want you to waste your time. They want you to say it's fake. But the thing is, let's just go through the dates. Nobody checks through it. Yes. What do you call it? This is from Johns Hopkins University. Yes. This was recorded on what do you call it? November the 19th eclipse of the year 501. November the 19th. What the hell's going on? So now let's go through what are Claudius Ptolemy, in case people don't know. I'll send it again. This is from the Oxford academic. He reports 19 eclipses of the moon in his treatise known as the Almagest. As you can see, this is the same 19 they're using everywhere. It's a forgery and it's a fake. You see, they're using the same 19th, and 19 ships at Pearl Harbor. 19 guys did the attack in September the 11th, and they're telling us, there was this disease 3 years ago called COVID-19. But let's open up the Almagest, and anyone who goes through the Almagest, they'll notice that the data is totally suspicious. That the thing is, I thought I had it in front of me, but I don't. Yes, I don't. Yeah, to open it up. But anyway, as you can see, this is what they're teaching you. Can you see it? So the thing is, to understand all these things, to understand the Alpha and the Omega. By the way, in case anybody has not heard any of these other lectures before, yes, let me just send you this, because somebody will say, the thing is, David's just inventing this. So the Alpha and the Omega forms the name Allah, and what do you call it? Yes, the Alpha and the Omega, the 1 and the 19. I'm not preaching religion here. I've told people, if you want to learn it, for some reason it's got to do with Kabbalah. Alpha and Omega forms Allah, and this Allah, Alpha and Omega, the 1 and the 9 forms 19 in basic Kabbalah mathematics, and all the other numbers are in between. Yes, and so the thing is, if you the thing is, the Quran tells you the basic outline of how to understand who is who these people are living longer. I'm sure this is shocking news for you. Are you not shocked? The Quran is saying, hey, God has given them some form of provision. Yes. Oh, that's why people turn around and say, yes, the exact sentence in this Quran is, I thought, whoa, yes, that the thing is, the exact sentence. I just want you to read what it actually says in the exact sentence about these people. It turned around and says that these people who've been given the provision that they're living long or longer. Yes, we don't know how much longer they're living. It says, we gave provision to these people and their fathers. Wait a minute. These people and their fathers? Yes. So now, to understand who these people are, yeah, most people don't check this. Yeah, most people don't understand this. Then, to understand this, then you will notice that the thing is, the CIA talk about it, but they try to mislead you, because they know everybody knows this, that people's grandparents, everybody has passed down the information in Poland, in Canada, that many people will say our grandfathers warned us about these Illuminati bloodlines, that they're in these families, and that God has given them something, or they've got something in their blood, or something, that they're living longer. But many people didn't know that they're living longer. The Quran tells you, and it's in their families. So now the history of these families and what happened, the Quran gives you a different history. Now, I can't put this history here. Now, the thing is, the Quran gives you a different history and a different timeline. Yes, and Professor Fomenko has mentioned this, showing that according to the Quran, Aaron and the followers of Aaron were the Aryans, the Germanic people, that his sister was Mary. Professor Fomenko says in the pages of the Quran, he mentions it, that it gives you different timelines, different history. What do you call it? Yes, and the thing is, if anybody says what do you call it? Yes, that I'm talking about it, it's like you'll Professor Fomenko went through it, and he shows there's a different history, different timeline compared to Western history. Like I'll just show you that Google Books now, his books, thousands of pages. Let me show you. If you want to buy his books, you can go through it. If you're a deep researcher, it shows Moses, Aaron, and their sister Mary in the pages of the Quran. As one sees from folding its different history compared to the Scaligian, or the history that we learn in Europe and America and in the Bible. It's a totally different history. So now this is in Professor Fomenko goes through it. I'm going through it. Now, Professor Fomenko was not preaching Islam. He read the manuscript. Now, the thing is, I've read the manuscript, the Quran too, and I found this strange story that about the Kabbalah, or the way of Allah, the Alpha and the Omega. Allah it's Allah. It's not Eli. It's not Alpha and Omega. I keep repeating this because some people want to dispute it. Yeah, and they want to say these things because, you know, there's big organizations, churches, many people are going to fight for this because they're going to lose their customers, yeah, on Sunday. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, they're going to lose their people. But the thing is, if you want to understand the Kabbalah, the Illuminati, the lies in history, why the mathematics and all these other mathematics, study this Kaaba of God. What the Muslims are saying, this is the Kaaba and this is the Allah or the way of Allah. Study the Kabbalah or the way of Allah, because this is what the Kabbalah or these people that we call the Kabbalah or whoever and the Illuminati, they study it, and they don't teach you this in school. In school, for astronomy, they're going to say Neil Armstrong went to the moon. He arrived there on the 19th. Yes, and he set foot on the 20th. And then, what do you call it? Yeah, Buzz Aldrin, he set foot on the moon 19 minutes later. This is in my book, Ancient Egypt Didn't Exist. Now, if anybody doesn't read that, you're not going to understand the mathematics. And even in that book, I point out that this mathematics is actually in the Quran, that the Quran warned you. By the way, the Quran doesn't just say it. It warns you something to do with this mathematics. Now, the thing is, I can't make you see this. The thing is about the Kabbalah, and the thing is the forgeries in history. Fomenko showed the forgeries in history. Why? Why are we alive? Who are we? Why is somebody going to lie about this? Why are they going to hide the simple mathematical mechanism of nature, or the way the creator of the universe made the system? Why are they going to hide it? Why is the Quran going to tell you these buildings, like these churches and cathedrals, yes, that they've got these rib arches, and the Quran will tell you, but even in Europe, we don't know. But these people who are sat there in the deserts, yeah, you know, that you could say in Saudi Arabia or in Pakistan or in Algeria, they're going to turn and say, hey, we know this, King Solomon built them. But in Europe, they're going to say it's not Solomon who built them. They're going to say to you that the cathedrals were organized. They're going to turn around and say, oh no, it's not Solomon. They're going to turn around and say to you, what's that name? They're going to say he's called Charlemagne. Yes, yeah, they're going to say his name is Charlemagne or Charlemagne. Yes, that's what they're going to teach us in what do you call it? Yes, and they're going to say his name is what do you call it? Charlemagne. Yes, let me just find it. Let me just find it online and send it to you. Yes, I'm just looking for it. Yes, Charlemagne. Let's go through it. Wiktionary. That Charlemagne's name. In Latin they've invented Carolus Magnus, Velici Magnus, things like this. Yes. Yes, but his name is Charlemagne, Solomon, and this guy built the churches. Yes, cathedrals. He built them, and many of them weren't completed. The Quran tells you many of them were not completed. But in school, when we went here, they said, "Oh, it took centuries, 1,000 years to build these cathedrals." Blah blah blah. We don't know why they were finished, and then they were mysteriously, yes, modified or finished in the 19th, 20th century. So they're lying. So the Quran, but why the hell are people in the deserts of Saudi Arabia going to be studying this and memorizing this? Isn't this strange? Why is it going to be in their history book? Yeah, you know what I mean. So then the thing is, now we know that modern Islam is fake. For example, in Iran, yes, you'll notice that the average person has never read the Quran in Iran. They're teaching them these new books, new Islam, and then many of these people, when they leave Iran, and I saw Iranians who come to Germany, they turn and say, "Hell no, I've got nothing to do with this Islam." So I warn people again: stay away from this modern Islam. Read the Quran yourself first. Don't believe anybody. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? Yes, this is not about religion. If you want to believe in a God, be my guest. It's up to you. Or if you want to believe the Anunnaki made the world, or if you want to believe that the Illuminati created you and that you're some test tube baby project, you believe whatever you want. But if you want to ask about this history thing, I've told you these things now. Now the thing is, there's been thousands of videos and everything. They're just making one thing after another. Who made these buildings? The mathematics. It's an inside job. Hey, there's been this new thing of these buildings getting burnt. It's strange. Hey, the mathematics is strange. Look, guys, if you want to study the Kabbalah, there's ways to study it. It's not difficult. And the thing is, can't you just see what it is? Kaaba and Allah? Yeah, go and study where you're going to find this Kaaba and this Allah. And I suggest, if you don't want to read my books, go and study this Quran. It's not a long book. It's like, I think it's only about 10 or 20% of the Bible. It's very short. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful with the translations. I advise you on this. And then I've got nothing against, modern Christians or modern Muslims or modern Jews. I'm talking about the history, and I'm going through the original texts, the books. Now, what modern people follow, their modern systems, if it's good for you and it's saved you from drugs or it's made your life better, good for you guys. Yes, I'm trying to go back to the original because Moshe, the prophet Moshe, many people have insisted, Prophet Moses, that I should call him prophet. Yes, the prophet Moses, yes, we can see he's in Christianity, he's in Islam, and he's in Judaism. Now he did something revolutionary. Now the thing is, if we want to understand his way, let's go back to the original. It's got a lot to do with mathematics and science. He wasn't like some magician. He was actually, like a professor, and he got information and technology from God. And this is what all these other prophets or professors got from God, and they gave us a message. Yeah, and now the thing is, if you don't believe in God and other things, that's up to you. But if you want to understand the Kabbalah system, this is what they're doing. And that's how it goes. Anyway, let's leave it at that, Raphael. Yeah, I already gave you the title. I forgot it, but it's somewhere during the recording. Yes? A good title for this
Indeed,
video.
Illuminati in the Quran.
Is that what I said? Or
Yes,
something else? Yeah.
that's what you said, yes.
Something I forgot anyway. Anyway, let's leave it at that, Raphael. We'll talk another day. But I'm sure this is revealing to people what the Quran is saying. People are living long. These people have been alive. God, dude, man, they're not humans. They're drinking bloodsuckers or something else. No, it says God provided them with something, and they're not going to be immortal. And then many of them don't want to die. Yes, and then the thing is, I don't know. That's why you will see that many people who figured out, yes, what do you call it? Yes, what these people are, that you will notice that if you want to join them and be part of the ruling families, that they will cut their hand or they will put blood in a cup and they share each other's blood because there's something in the blood to live
Hmm.
longer. You see? So it says God gave them something whereby they could live long, maybe some food or some technology. Yes? Yeah, and then there is other people who are trying to join the Illuminati or something where they're drinking blood or other things. But anyway, I don't know the full story. It's in the Quran. There you go, guys. Yes, yes. So what you're up against, these people are planning things longer. They live longer. Yes, and the thing is, that's why they can plan these events 50 years ago or 100 years ago or 200 years ago. You see now, Raphael?
Hmm. Hmm.
Is this very shocking for you?
You always ask me this question. I'm not surprised anymore, but of course, I'm curious, and anyone having any information, kindly comment. Even I'm thinking of who
Yeah.
also mentioned you. There was a recent video by Mind Unveiled about the homunculus. They even mentioned you at 6 hours 30, and they also
Yeah.
talk about these ideas of, reincarnation or how to extend life through different means. It's
Yeah.
definitely an open field for
It's not just
research.
about reincarnation. I'm glad you said that. I stopped you halfway
Hmm.
because the thing is, the Quran actually, the Muslims won't talk about this, and I don't think I mentioned this in anybody's video so far. I just made a post on it, but the thing is, I notice most Muslims, and they'll try to not give a proper answer. But let me add this video somewhere in the recording. I'm sending you a video, and I'll play it because I really like this one. It's from James Bond.
They told me you were assassinated in Hong Kong.
Yes, this is my second life.
You only live twice, Mr. Bond.
I like this one. You only live twice, Mr. Bond. Yes, I
Hmm.
mentioned this once before. Yes, the Quran says something strange. Now, there's many people who've said something, but the thing is, because this is a long subject, I'll just say the basics. So it turns around and says here that on after the universe no longer exists or collapsed and it's been gone. The thing is, it turns around and says that when people meet God, they will say, God, twice you caused us to die, and twice you gave life. So that means people, by the time they get to God, whoever these people are, they lived twice and they died twice. They died twice and then they're born again. So I'm not sure about this, but it's mentioning other lives. And then it also turns around and says in the Quran, it also says in the same chapter, I think it's in 21. Yeah, it turns around and says, yeah, that God is actually saying in the Quran, according to Islam, if it's God, yeah, yeah, does not man remember that what do you call it? It turned around and says that I don't know what this means. Yes, because the thing is, we've got the fake history of Islam, but it's up to the reader. People will have to figure this out themselves. And there's more things on this, but we don't have time. It turns around and says that we're alive right now, and the Quran asks you a question. It says, "Can't you remember that you were created before when you were nothing?" I don't know what that's talking about. And then it turns around and says, what do you call? It turns around and says, like, this is very important. Yes, because most people ignore this. But the Quran, a major message of the Quran is this. Yes, a major message of the Quran is this, and it tells you about you and about these people who are living longer, or you want to call them the Illuminati. The Quran tells you that this is the final thing. Yes, that the final thing. Yes, get ready for it, everybody. Is yes, you are going to die, and they are going to die. You're going to die. And what the Quran says is prepare for this because you're going to die. Look around. You're not going to live here forever. So be careful what you do in this life. That's the core message of the Quran. The heart of the message, it keeps repeating it and saying things like this. It says, you will die. Yes, and you are going to go to God. And it's basically saying, hey, it just keeps telling you again and again similar things, saying, wait till you get to God. You think you're bad? Yeah. So this is not a message. Some people will say, hey, this is Judaism, or this is Christianity. Yeah, this is a universal message. We're all going to die, guys. So be charitable, help poor people. There's people who don't have food and other things. When you travel, don't waste money. If you're going to buy a car, you're going to have a very big wedding or anything, don't waste money. You've got lots of furniture, don't overspend it, because one thing is you're going to die. Get ready for this. Prepare for it. Yes. And anyway, let's leave it at that, Raphael. That's the
And
final thing.
allow me
All I
to
can say.
add, wherever we're able to discover it, let's not support made-up history, where I'm sure immense amount of resources, attention, and belief system energy is being funneled, which, if that were to be liberated, even just by that energy, I'm sure we could completely reorganize society in a way that would truly benefit everyone.
Yes, this is not about destroying the New World Order. The New World Order is already here. Yes, let's improve it. Let's make it better ourselves. Let's dominate this world order. The old world is gone. It's gone. You can't bring it back. Let's build the new world order. When I say let's build it, it means don't let the Kabbalah build it. You can build it. Why waste your time, what do you call it, doing this and that and all these other things, do charitable works, help people. Half the world is, living on less than, $1 a day or $2 a day or €1 a day. People, they're crying. And the thing is, these are the things that are going to help you because you're going to die. You're not taking anything with you. And these poor people are going to die too, and their prayers are going to go with them, and your prayers are going to go with you, your memory or whatever it is or whatever you did. So guys, I advise you to do good things. I've started doing charitable things. I'm terrified myself. I know I ain't gonna live forever, guys. Whether there is a God or not, I'm terrified too. So don't worry about it. Me too, guys. Let's leave it at that, Raphael. Yeah.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, have a nice day. Bye.